Camera rolling. In 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the Alif podcast. Today I have the honor of having over with me the great John Saville. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
And it's been quite a journey of us together.
Exactly.
We've been
recording and working in the studio.
Yeah, we got acquainted through Jasir, I believe.
Jasir, yeah, exactly.
And worked on Sir Khwab. We were, lucky to have you on that project. And you've been a part of the jamming and just the whole Alif community. But why don't we start with, because you are a proper veteran of the scene. So maybe we start with, as is tradition with these podcasts, your beginnings and how you got into music.
Okay, my beginnings, let's say, you can see ever since childhood, actually my father was a musician too, so there was always music around the house, but they never necessarily wanted me to get into music. So they were always like, you gotta go to school, focus on your academic stuff, but I was like,
don't take the hard road like
don't
us.
Don't take the hard road, yes, exactly, But I was kind of rebellious, and like while in school, I used to form bands on the side, and then I joined my school band. So back then, I used to play saxophone.
Oh wow!
Clarinet and saxophone.
Mm-hmm.
So then I used to meet people around, and then I took a liking to keyboards.
Yeah.
Because it's like harmonic.
Yeah.
Kind of.
The whole world at your
exactly,
fingertips.
The whole world at your fingertips.
So what instrument did your father play?
He was a keyboard player, like a pianist and this thing, and he was more into jazz and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
so, from a young age, you had records playing around the house and
exactly,
stuff.
Yeah, I had all kinds of music, and I remember listening to Chick Corea when I was very young. Chick Corea and Herbie Hancock. My father introduced me to it. He said that's kind of music you need to listen to if you want to become something.
And was his parents also into music, or did he?
Actually, no, his parents weren't into music and such, but they all played piano. As well.
Right.
Like back then, because it was kind of the norm. Every family had a piano in the house, and. So someone or the other played piano or violin or something.
So was your first instrument that you tried on an actual organ?
It was an organ, a keyboard, yeah.
Okay, and but an electronic one or like electronic keyboard, yeah.
Electronic keyboard.
So did you have a physical piano though in the house?
I don't remember one, but I remember we had it in like the neighbors' houses, as well as some relatives and all that. So I'd go there and I'd just kind of tinker around on the keys.
Yeah. So eventually you basically decided that this is...
I decided this is the instrument I want to stick to, yeah. I ventured through many instruments like guitar and bass and...
Yeah. I mean, I've noticed you often showing us bass lines and
Bass
stuff.
lines,
So clearly
exactly,
you're
yeah.
well acquainted
I mean,
with.
that all comes from here too, exactly. Because like you're on piano, like you're playing your bass, you're playing
Yeah.
your harmonic structures,
Yeah.
rhythm, melodies, and
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
So I guess that all comes out of there.
So did you ever have any music lessons?
I had my basic music lessons where I learned how to read
Mm-hmm.
in the school band.
Okay.
In the school band, because we had this army teacher, like he was from the army, an ex-army officer or
Mm-hmm.
something, and he was a musician. So his teachers are basic. He was very strict. He's like literally hit us on our wrists and
Proper
stuff.
regimented.
Exactly, regimental. Like
But that's rare. I mean, music
Oh.
schooling in Pakistan
exactly.
is not.
Back then, there was
common.
totally there was like kind of music schooling concept of music schooling and.
But among your peers and stuff, were you like, was it common for people to have some background in music amongst the people?
Quite a
who you
few
grew
did
up
have, yeah.
Yeah.
There were a couple of saxophonists and guitarists and all who and especially pianists. that
Yeah.
all read music and stuff and
with? Wow.
had their basic training.
Mhm.
You see.
So, what do you think in terms of? I mean, I guess we'll get to this a bit later in more detail. But like, do you think having that formal education in terms of being able to read made a massive difference for you? Or did you start picking things up by ear?
It might only help with, say, if you're having a music discussion or
Yeah.
if you're teaching music something, which
Yeah.
I also do, like on
Yeah,
the side. But I think you have to have like a really
Trained
good
ear.
ear for a
Yeah.
trained ear for music.
Yeah. So
That's the primary thing. Like that's for many musicians, even abroad. Like you see a lot of jazz musicians, and they all go with a ear. Like they'll play something, and
yeah, knowing the
yeah.
theory is one thing.
you know,
but
the theory is
the
one thing. Yeah,
practice
exactly.
is the
The
main
practice
thing.
is the main thing.
Yeah, bilkul. So what was your first memories of like your first bands and stuff?
Okay, first band was like maybe back when I was around 10 or 11, and we used to play talent. Like back then, we used to have these talent shows in school and
Yeah.
the churches and stuff. So
Yeah.
I used to go and play. So I remember playing this one hall in the church or somewhere it was, and
Mhm.
so the rest of the guys are all scared, so they were standing behind the curtain backstage, and it's just a drummer and me on stage, and like I started, we were playing some songs, and the guitarist, his cable broke or something, and I had to play the lead solos and everything. Like I had a small synth with me. And
Oh wow!
So
And
that's when
were you
people
playing
came up on
covers?
stage, and maybe just in covers, yeah.
And what kind of music?
This was like back in the day, like the good, I'd say like the healthy pop we had back then in
Mm.
like the 80s, 90s, like
Pop was much more musical.
much more
in those
musical back
days.
then. No, back then, like you had some good pop because it had funk grooves in it, funk and
Yeah.
stuff, and
Yeah.
like Earth, Wind and Fire and stuff like that.
Ah,
And
I mean,
Exactly.
आजकल के लिए तो वो progressive हो गया.
exactly. Reggae and all,
Yeah.
Bob Marley and stuff, and
Yeah. And so, like, at what point did you then get into the professional scene?
okay, the professional scene, and I could say, I think in my late teens or like early 20s, that's when I started playing session with bands, and people started approaching me, like we need a keyboard player and we can't find him. And so I said, okay, like why not just take it seriously,
Yeah. And so, what was like the first, relatively better known act that you played with? You got more shows with or something?
Okay, when I started playing like the mainstream scene,
Yeah,
or something,
yeah.
okay, I'll say, okay, there was this band back then, I don't know if you know about them, Milestones, and
I've heard
Yeah,
the
exactly,
name,
yeah.
but obviously
there was
there's,
this guy
there's very
Ziad,
limited
actually,
footage.
Ziad was my friend, Ziad and Ali Tim, they were both my friends.
Okay.
So I kind of, I used to jam with them, and then they had formed this band.
Mm-hmm.
But I was sessioning with many bands, and after that there was this band called there was this guy from Final Cut,
Uh-huh.
Rizwan Khan,
Yes.
and so then he formed a band called Sentinel together. Four of us, like four or five members.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even remember the others.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like way back end.
Mm-hmm.
So that worked for a while. Like we did some battles of bands, and
Okay. And at that point, was the original material that you guys had, or
Oh.
were still covers?
we were doing a lot of covers, but we were also working on original. But then the band split up because due to various differences, and that's some members left. I think one migrated abroad or something, and
Yeah.
then we all got caught up in our own stuff. And
Yeah. Well, one of the main, I guess, ways I've heard of you is through, hearing that you used to play with Amir Zaki.
Amir Zaki was a very good friend of mine, very old
At
friend.
what point did he enter the equation in your...
Okay, I'd say he entered it. Say in '96 was when we really started meeting up and jamming together. Like we had known each other way before that. It was just like kind of greeting or wishing each other a time and greeting each other. But we started jamming like since '96 when I went to his place, and then we formed this jazz band.
And
so like with him it was fun playing because he could play various instruments too, and he was really good on bass and guitar.
Yeah,
so that's where I started focusing more towards the jazz side. I started getting out of rock and
it seems like the entry point for most players around here is rock. You know?
Rock, exactly. Yeah.
And jazz, the kami log pahunch pa.
Kami log, and exactly because we didn't have a music scene around here, no clubs around to go to where you could hear jazz musicians playing.
Yeah.
And so like, and rock would kind of like at that age too, like when you're younger, it would kind of just elevate me to one.
Yeah, but you had some as you said, some kya kehte hain, your ears had heard some of this jazz stuff.
The jazz stuff, yeah. So I was kind of
stuff from an earlier age.
Yeah. So, and then plus I used to play like a few Duke Ellington tunes, Dave Brubeck and stuff like that. And so
walk us through what it was like in a jam session with Amir Zaki.
Okay, so with Amir Zaki, the first thing I remember him was, okay, and I'm gonna form this band. So we played something. He was like, he was even blown away. Or you're someone serious. You're into like what I want. You know what I'm looking for. And when I heard his guitar playing his tone, and I said, man, this is it. Like you could go a long way. We had like kind of a love-hate relationship, Amir Zaki and myself. Like, we were very close friends, but there were times when we wouldn't agree on stuff, and we'd split up, break up, and again we'd meet up for a couple of months.
And at this time was Gumby also in this situation?
He was also there, He was there too, and on drums and all that. But
usually it would be him on drums?
He was on drums, and we had someone else on bass at around, I think it was this guy Bonnie we had taken for a while. And but then Gumby was also playing with Janoon back then. At that time, so he's traveled a lot.
So I mean, at that point, did you guys, when you got together and were on the same page with jazz and stuff, was there a thought to make some stuff and bring that into the scene? Because no one was doing that.
Yeah, no one was doing that. So we also had plans to do that, but you can say we just did some covers first. We were trying to get acquainted with the jazz, that sound, a new sound. You can say, and no, but we didn't really work on anything back then. Because Amir had his album out, so he wanted us to even play with him, along with him. Like,
so you play some live shows with him and stuff?
I think we played 1 or 2 live shows, and with his doing his songs and a couple of jazz covers and stuff. And but we never really got down to making anything because of everyone kind of being tied up again. Amir's toured a lot too back then. He was playing session also with a lot of bands. Avaz, Vital Signs, and something like that. And so was this guy.
Gumby.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, so as a working musician, what was your bread and butter at that time? Was it just shows? Were you teaching as well?
It was shows, and I was teaching too. Like, I used to teach even in schools, teaching music, but it wasn't kind of what I really wanted to teach. It wasn't authentic music lessons, It was more like just teaching the basics, rudimentary stuff, and...
Right. And was there an interest from the students, did you find, or was it just...
There was quite a few. I'd say like back then must have been around, say, 25-30%. But everyone wanted to be a singer back then, If I go up and sing, like, I'll have my album out and people will follow me. And they had that stardom thing in their mind. So I had to kind of break it down and explain to them what music is and how you get into it. And
I mean, it's challenging to build that interest from scratch. I mean, it has to be there from the students.
Exactly.
Side,
from there. You can't instill that into them. You see that.
So I mean, tell us more about like how, I guess it's been a real for people like you and for the session players in general, it's been quite a struggle, with the scene. Basically, it seems like it's been on a downward trend over years, with more electronic music being made and with people not requiring real musicians on their albums anymore. So how has that, like, what have you seen? Like, at what point did that change really start coming in?
That change started coming, I'd say, like maybe mid 2000s.
Yeah.
So we're
Was
making sounds.
less
Exactly
computers
right.
started getting better.
Computers started, and then like, everyone became a musician overnight. You know?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
they was like, oh, okay, we're taking samples of a keyboard part, ripping off
Exactly.
parts from there, pasting them together and putting it in. You know, I've got my keyboard solo, I've got everything down, and
Yeah.
but there was always a difference. You could see those glitches in it.
Like, how do you deal with that?
It was
Like,
kind of
it's like your own bread and butter is being impinged upon by like a machine,
a
which
machine.
doesn't have any soul,
kind of
and being operated by people who don't know
who don't have
necessarily.
who have no knowledge about the instrumentation and
Yeah.
okay, like you can understand if you're using a machine.
Yeah.
Right now, I use machines. I mean, I use VSDs, I use programs, I use DAWs and whatever. And but the thing is, I'm a musician, so I know exactly how to arrange music. And likewise with you, if you're sitting on doing it. But most people weren't musicians back then.
Yeah.
They were just kind of, I'd say, avid listeners, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. And
It's
even listening, I
enthusiasts.
mean, I don't know. if-
Not even listeners. you
Yeah.
see, because
Listening to maybe just what's on the charts.
what's on the
mostly,
charts? Exactly.
You know, because the whole trend and culture of having a record collection or a CD collection,
Uh-huh.
and then you go over to someone's place and they have some different albums, and you're like, oh, what's this? Or they show you something,
Sure.
and then you discover more and more music. Now it's more like, I feel like, driven by everything's on the charts on YouTube. It's viral, so the taste is kind of more homogeneous now. It
True.
seems.
And,
Even though there's more music out there
so
now
that-
than
yeah,
ever
exactly,
before,
yeah.
right?
I mean, you might even find good music within that, but it's really hard to find that. But that's not very surfacing right up there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
So you've got to dig deep into that and then pull it out from.
yeah. And then I guess so. Again, so I'd heard, it's funny, like we would go to these jams and there's always guitar players, there's always some drummers, some bass players, vocalists,
You never
but
find keyboard
there's
players.
never any keyboard player.
player,
And
exactly.
always we would have these jams and we'd be like, yeah, keyboard
Why is it
chahiye,
keyboard?
there's no
Yeah.
keyboard. And someone or the other, Jasir or whoever would mention
Oh.
John Saville.
John, exactly.
And
Yeah,
I'm like,
I
who
have
is this
met
John
him,
Saville? I
exactly.
need to
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
meet this John Saville. And then eventually we...
And I remember the first time I come here, it was right down here in this basement.
Yeah.
Whatever, and you were just building a studio. This is back
Yes.
then. You were starting off. This
Yeah.
was a couple of years ago, I think.
It's like 5 years now.
4 or 5 years back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was the first time I ever came here with someone, and
Mhm.
so that's when I met you, and then you had already heard about me, I think, and so you
Yes.
told me to come around and
I had met you... Actually, I met Jesse, I think,
Jesse. Yeah,
before
exactly,
I
yeah,
met you.
Yeah,
Jesse had come
I think
to
Jesse
some-
had brought me, honey. Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So he brought me here, and exactly that's when I met you, and then we just started coming around, and then of course Anas, being a very old friend of mine,
Yeah.
and he once you had set up the studio, the other jamming portion,
Mhm.
then Anas had called me, said, "Why don't you just come over to Aleph and jam?" And
Yeah.
that's when I started like sticking around here. That's when Jasser and everyone were there that night.
Yeah.
and
Yeah. And then actually what happened was Zishan Mansoor
Zishan Mansoor was here from Islamabad. Exactly.
from Islamabad, he was working on the Malang Party
album.
record.
Oh yeah. And
But obviously, working on an album, it takes time and it's a
Time.
long process. So in between the album sessions, he was itching to do something.
Something else,
And
exactly.
you two had met at some jams.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
We
I
had done
think
some
that's...
blues gig together. I think Jasser, him, myself,
Yes.
and Aziz.
Yeah, yeah. And plus he had this real interest in jazz.
In
In
jazz,
jazz
yeah.
chords,
Yeah,
introducing...
kind of similar taste, exactly.
Yeah,
he liked
introducing
this
that kind of vocabulary into the mainstream in some
mainstream,
way.
yeah. Which is
and-
when we formed Cirqua, we've taken on
Yes.
those lines, you see.
Exactly. So Zishan and Zishan Ali.
Zishan Ali, they were the
Uh,
ones that both sat together and kind of crafted the songs.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
kind of tailored it. And
So tell us about that. Like, how was it for you to come into that
okay, that was really
outfit?
that was really nice. I really enjoyed that. But it was of course because of COVID that ruined everything, where everyone had to split up and go back to their hometowns and
Yeah.
and
But how was the
gigs.
process of
The process
arranging,
of arranging
the
music
songs?
was. Oh, that was a fun thing. I remember we
It was
recorded
pretty much
right
done
here
in
the
jams,
studio.
right? Pretty much done in jams.
All in jams.
Yeah.
It's all done in jams. Like we didn't really sit down and make up a part or whatever. It was just came out spontaneously.
Mhm. Mhm.
And whatever we liked, I remember we used to even record our jams.
Mhm.
So,
So how was the experience arranging those tunes with Surkhab?
okay, like what we used to do, we used to just, I remember Shani was here, Jasser, and we used to come every morning or afternoon, and we would just sit down and jam the songs, like live, real time.
Yeah.
Zishan would play his harmonium and start up some melody, and we would just kind of follow with the chords. And
Yeah.
So that was the fun part because you were like jamming on it, you know, like
Hmm.
the solos would be different every time and
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And
But had you done any project with the classical Eastern kind of singing before?
no, that was my first project with an Eastern classical singer.
Hmm.
you can say.
So how was that for you? Like, was it easy to integrate your jazz and blues into
It was
that?
totally easy because he was kind of very open to
Hmm.
the singer, I mean Zishan himself,
Hmm.
and he was like an improviser himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I didn't find any issues with that at all.
Yeah, and it feels like, because the interesting thing about Surkhwab for me is
Oh,
a lot of jab ye fusion hota hai,
हाँ,
you know,
हाँ.
like other bands have tried it in Pakistani
हाँ.
scene before. The chordal vocabulary that they're using is very rock and pop centric.
the chordal.
Yeah,
you're right,
from the
right.
Western point of view.
हाँ, exactly.
And उसके ऊपर वो rags fit कर रहे होते हैं, whereas those rags demand other flavors and colors.
Other flavor, like now we had more towards I'd say kind of going to one of the jazz sub genres like of it as
Yeah.
a kind of smooth jazz kind of a feeling. We had something, but it was based on that and blues
Mhm.
and a lot of blues like bluesy.
Yeah, yeah. And so that's where I think your experience and exposure and interest, you know, really comes through. Because
exactly,
it
yeah.
gives the right basis to properly then explore all those areas,
Oh,
you know, that
all those
you
areas,
like
yeah.
playing in. So that for me personally is one of my the projects that I'm most proud of, because I feel like
Exactly, yeah. I
So
remember
Bob
you used to be like lit back then, you know. Like,
yeah,
recording
it's
stuff.
it's one of the most unique things that I think has happened out of Alif. But coming back to your experiences,
Oh.
you know, in the industry, I mean, tell us a little bit about the difficulties. I mean, what are the things that, you know, grind your gears about? about
Crowd my gears.
yeah, yeah. अब घिस गए.
Unhighlighted, exactly. It took a long while for it to get back into shape, you know, and come back.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, we had, I see, like in the 90s, it was totally a totally different area. You had a lot of professional jealousy
Mm.
and I'd say kind of like racism, something, just because me being.
Yeah.
uh,
Different Green Christian.
Exactly, and of course, I don't think that way. I'm
Yeah.
a human first. That's what I am, you know. and-
Absolutely. Especially
Exactly.
when you're playing music.
Exactly,
you can't
playing
be
music and
thinking.
anything. I mean,
Yeah.
to kind of get along in life, you
Yeah.
have to think that way, you know, in those
Yeah.
lines, you know. And
Yeah. So did you feel like, you know, it was because other people didn't have as much knowledge and they felt jealous about that? Or
I think the knowledge it was basically the knowledge and the playing. You see, because
Hmm.
they couldn't play like that, you know, and so they were kind of jealous. So you had a lot of people coming to me to learn from me, and
Hmm.
but you know they kind of put me like kind of sidelined me.
Yeah.
and
and took the limelight.
took the limelight, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Unfortunately, ये तो आज भी हो.
ये तो आज भी हो, आजकल भी हो रहा है.
It's
Exactly.
a
You have a lot
consistent
of these-
feature.
I think a small way of thinking, you know, like the ego,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. And I mean, what do you think is the solution to this kind of thing? Like, did you? I mean, obviously, it must
Oh.
have really pissed you off, right?
It
like,
did.
did you allow it to get to
I
you?
used to be really angry to
Yeah.
times, you know, and
Yeah.
I was going through manic depressive phases myself,
Hmm.
you know. But then I started working on myself,
Hmm. Hmm.
you know, analyzing my own flaws and stuff. Because
Yeah.
I mean, no one's perfect. Everyone has
Absolutely.
something in it. So I started analyzing
Absolutely.
myself and growing out of that, you know.
Yeah.
That kind of thinking. I said,
Yeah.
oh, I'll still keep on doing what I have to do, whether I'm put down or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
to achieve my goal, stay
Hmm.
rather than driving myself crazy or whatever, you know.
Absolutely, and often, I mean, I firmly believe these things happen because there's something for us to learn.
It's something exactly, you know.
You know, like I could be really good at something and people get jealous of that thing, but maybe that
I say you got
ability
such a,
or
like,
skill has given me an
Yeah.
ego as well, and I think
Exactly.
of myself as
e-
better.
Exactly, you know. Yeah, yeah. So I guess it sort of even kind of helped me with myself, and you know, like
Yeah.
kind of trying to become a better human.
Hmm.
That has been my aim. I'd say that's the same issue, but a lot of people have to look into. I mean, to
Yeah.
overcome that problem.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like, I mean, look at your own mind. Become introspective.
Yeah.
Analyze your.
I mean, as a teacher, like, I think a lot of the thing to blame here is like upbringing of people and not
The
being
upbringing.
taught not being taught, especially at home.
At home.
You know,
At home.
घर में वो क्या देखते हैं? स्कूल में कुछ भी आप सिखा लो, लेकिन घर में अगर एक चीज देख लें.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but as a teacher, do you think you've had any kind of way to influence or to coach, you know, young musicians in that direction of not having an ego about things and just constantly learning?
I keep that's one of the primary goals actually. You know,
Yeah.
I tell them, okay, you just gotta be empty yourself. You know, it's like a cup, empty the cup, and
Yeah.
you gotta pour water into it. You know,
Yeah.
and
And do you find like when in your students, obviously there must be some that are better than others, or more skilled
true,
or gifted.
True, exactly. Yeah.
So do you see this issue come up at that early age where if someone's more gifted, that other children get jealous of that person or try to put them down or
I've
things like that?
seen that too. I've seen that too, and also, but it might not show it
Hmm.
exactly in a way like, you know, like a really in an aggressive way or manner. But
Yeah.
I do see that, and then I try to
Yeah. Coach them. around
coach
it.
them, like bring the weak ones out and tell them, "Okay, this is where your weaknesses." I try to point out their weaknesses, and that's what you got to work on, that area. You know, it might not even be a physical thing; it might be something mental inside and internally,
Yeah.
a kind of a hurdle which you've got, an obstacle but you've got to kind of
Yeah.
work your way around. You know, and
Yeah. I mean, so
to achieve that.
absolutely. I mean, I think one of the things is like as you get older, you realize that no matter how much knowledge that you gain, it's really about your personal skills with other people that gets you
Your interaction,
respect
exactly,
or
like your
gets
respect,
you, you know,
yeah.
work or gets you anything. You know, you have to be able to work with people.
Your communication, exactly, you know, and how you work with other people. That's
Yeah.
very important. You know,
And respect मिलता है देने से.
Exactly, देने से मिलते हैं ना, exactly. Like, I mean, how long we've been
No
dating
one
each
is
other,
like,
we respect each other and
हाँ, यहाँ often
Exactly.
ये हो जाता है, लोग entitled हो जाते हैं.
entitled each other.
उनको कुछ शायद opportunity या break मिले or they become,
हाँ.
you know, popular, become stars or something, and then they
The
think
whole
that,
psyche changes, you know.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. That's what I've seen with a lot of people around here. But,
actually that's without, you don't necessarily have to name anyone, but
yeah, exactly.
like
And I've also seen people who are kind of balanced, you know,
Hmm.
who have reached those heights, but they're also still the same.
yeah. But do you think the industry in some kind of perverse way rewards this kind of toxic behavior? Like those that kind of get you up, like for example, you know, we've seen so many examples of a band starts getting popular, but then because यहाँ culture है vocalist को ज़्यादा, you know, ऊपर करने
हाँ,
का,
over-
तो vocalist को star बना देते हैं, बाकी सब पे attention नहीं आती. And then like that vocalist, if he is the kind to let it get to his head,
हाँ.
they'll like cut-offify the rest of the band,
Okay.
and they'll then hire other session players for really cheap money,
Cheap money,
and start
exactly.
doing the
Or
same
use
songs
even-
that other people
even
wrote.
Use backing tracks. sometimes,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
yeah. Okay,
So
okay,
this has
that's-
happened so much.
That's also the industry to blame for not kind of educating the public.
And
It's
also
like,
for
yeah.
like they'll just hire
Yeah.
the vocalist
Huh.
for a show, and they won't even hire the rest of the band that made him.
Exactly.
You know?
Like you see most of these tours, like when they're going abroad,
Yeah.
they'll take bands that are just one band, session band playing with everyone, you know.
Yeah.
And so the vocalists are not really getting that kind of backup they need.
Yeah.
Background.
And so they can't grow.
They
Just,
can't grow,
They get
exactly,
popular
yeah.
based on something,
Yeah.
and then they keep regurgitating that thing
Exactly,
because
yeah.
the people that helped them make that are no longer in the picture.
And like you see, because in Pakistan, like music wasn't part of our culture. Like it's only now, in the past 20 years, I'd say, that people have started getting into it, like through social media, the internet.
I guess the genres have
The
expanded.
genres have expanded.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so like most of the people go towards vocalists, like lyrics, basically. Not even
Yes.
vocalists, but not even the melody, but lyrics.
Hmm.
Like you have something like written on love or on kind of heartbreak.
Yeah,
Those things sell.
absolutely. There isn't that appreciation
There's
of
no
the
appreciation
musicality.
for musicality right now.
Yeah.
But things have changed. I've noticed this with Surkwab, like when we played this Lahoti Melo.
Mhm.
And I've seen the response of people, like when we actually soloing and playing everything. They were actually into it for the music,
Yeah, it
not
thinks,
just the vocalist.
I mean, I think with the smartphones
The
and
smartphones,
access,
the people have kind of, they know what's happening now. I mean, they know
yeah,
what
and
music is.
I, you know, it's one of those things where I feel the industry has gone one way where, you know, everyone knows and all the marketers know कि ये certain simple जो melodies हैं,
हाँ.
ये bikengi. Simple,
Bikengi.
catchy melodies bikengi.
And they don't want to take risks.
They don't want to take risks, and more than that, they think of the audience as in some way dumb, right?
Dumb.
And
Which
they're playing to the dumb audience.
But they aren't. You know?
And they aren't dumb. They're getting
I've seen
smart.
music. I played music for us. I've played music for people who never even expect would be listening to music.
Yeah.
I've seen the way it affects their psyche and everything, you know, and
Bilkul.
the way they enjoy it.
Bilkul. And we underestimate that. Like, for
And just
example,
playing instrumental, exactly. You know,
yeah,
what
like
the way they
in
get-
the film world, like Christopher Nolan's films, for
Oh,
example,
okay.
like you see Inception,
Yeah,
for
right,
example,
right.
and you know Interstellar. These are high concept films, but
Oh.
taken to the mass market, and he's kind of proven that people aren't dumb.
They
Like
aren't.
you know, these are complex, structured films with time going forward, backward,
Backwards,
different
exactly,
layers of
yeah.
things, but the audience can follow along in a 2.5 hour film. They still get the point at the end, and they're affected by it.
They're affected, exactly.
Right? And that's on a mass market. He's making billions of dollars.
Exactly.
Right? So similarly, I feel in music, we need to have some kind of musical revolution where we are making the complex things जो हमारे दिल से आ रही. You know, not
Exactly, yeah.
overly complicating anything, but what we actually want to play.
Oh.
The problem is people kind of cut themselves at the knees and they're like, अच्छा लोगों को ये नहीं समझ आएगा, this is too
I
complicated.
don't know, insecure or something, or scared of maybe because financial difficulties or whatever. So it's
Yeah,
like,
I need to
can't
do
use
something that sells.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, but
So
the
there's no
point is,
sacrifice.
okay, why are you as an artist getting those ideas if you're going to put them aside?
Put them aside. Exactly.
Like, then where's your creativity? You know, so this is a big problem, and I think, at least with Surkhwab, I think we were able to overcome that.
Overcome all that, exactly.
Yeah.
And of course, working with you, dude, that's another thing. I mean, as a producer, you just gave us, you said you just do what you want, you know, like,
Yeah, man.
you started showing set on playing with your cats.
I mean,
while
if you
were-
have players
while were
like
jamming
you
and
and Shani,
while
like-
you were playing with your cats and all that stuff. And you were exactly, you know, and
मेरा क्या काम है बस
exactly,
बजाओ.
भाई, बजाओ भाई, record करना है, हम नीचे record करना. Exactly. What
But
you want.
I think that's
That's the way
honestly,
it should be. That's the way you should.
but
really work.
conversely, I think
Oh.
because of that approach, a lot of the time I don't get the like a lot of people might say that I'm not a real producer.
Okay.
You know कि मुझे वो hits बनानी नहीं आती या ये वो because वो उसी mindset से think कर रहे हैं कि मेरा इसमें काम क्या था. Like Takatak came here for example and they made
Uh-huh.
the entire album.
Yeah,
And,
record, yeah, right.
they did it the way they wanted to, and then sometimes people don't associate me with that project because it's apparently all these guys is doing, right? But the point is, I'm not trying to make myself important here, but the
Okay.
point is you need a producer's job is to understand how to make the artist thrive and make them comfortable.
That's
so
like
that
post
they
exactly, yeah.
so that they can do वो जो उनके अंदर से आ रहा है. The job is not to tinker with what they're doing,
what they're doing.
to
Yeah,
put
exactly.
your own like aesthetic into it. No, that's not what I'm trying to do. At least that's not
You
the kind
think
of
of it
producer.
something only, I mean, okay, if I tell you I don't want this part, or I don't want to, okay, it's my band, okay, you change this, and then you'll do it. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the
you
most-
won't do it on your own. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, as like, I may have some input where because of my experience, I might say,
Yeah,
okay,
input,
okay,
of course, is always
yeah,
valid, yeah.
like these things are like सबके ideas pot में आ रहे हैं, but sometimes ideas clash हो रहे हैं.
Exactly.
हाँ.
Well, sometimes you get mentally blocked too. No?
Yeah,
Creatively
sometimes
blocked,
less is
exactly.
more.
Less is more,
You know?
exactly.
You can't have a
Less is always more. No?
Yeah,
Exactly.
you can't have
Yeah.
a keys solo happening when the vocalist is also singing.
Singing, yeah.
अच्छे से
Exactly,
chord
yeah.
बजाओ पीछे
Exactly,
रहो
yeah, हाँ.
और अपनी जगह पे आओ.
Exactly,
But
yeah.
यही काम है.
तो ऐसे टोन चेंज कर लो, ये कर
Yeah.
लो, exactly, you know, तो वो होता है इसमें.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad you felt that you were able to kind of do your thing here. 'Cause
No,
that's the point.
exactly. Yeah. That's something like you need to. I mean, we need like people like you in the industry. You know,
No, I'm very kind to say
Right,
that,
you
but
know, no, I'm serious about that because I wish you were there. Like, when I
well,
was,
I
you
do
know,
wish
exactly,
that I had
you
a
know,
chance
exactly.
to produce. When you were with Amir Zaki and
Oh,
Gumby
exactly,
and you
yeah,
guys
yeah,
were jamming.
yeah.
I mean,
No
there's
chance,
no
exactly, yeah.
there's no real document of that. Like,
No, there's
it's like,
yeah,
it's
nothing
real
documented.
unfortunate.
You know? Back then, we didn't have all this technology though, where you could just record it so easily. You know,
Yeah.
there were no cell phones back then.
Yeah,
I mean,
and the other thing is there's a lack of spaces to get to meet people like
to
you.
meet people.
Especially for the younger
the
musicians.
younger
Obviously,
generation,
you teach, but in the professional kind of playing environment. That's why we do the Juma jams,
The
right?
Choma Jams, yeah, which is
So different lineups can come
and I've seen
together.
so many of my students coming here too, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is nice. Like I felt nice here. I mean, I saw so many people coming around. I said, that's good. Like new faces and.
Yeah, and there should be that. Again, it's helpful for us, more experienced people, to kind of play with the younger lot.
Play with a younger lot, exactly.
And to, them asking questions, them using my guitar or my pedal board, asking how this works.
Exactly, yeah.
And maybe someone comes and often they use my gear in ways that I haven't used.
That you are, exactly.
And then I'm learning from them,
Yeah. It works both ways, you see. Like you can do Buds with one stone. I mean, like.
Absolutely. So what's your plans now for the future? Like what's happening in the world of John Saville? Like, do you have your own compositions that you're...
I have a couple of instrumentals that I'm doing. I mean, just what I haven't really... but I want to sit down and do them now, and...
We should absolutely do that.
And I'm going to do it with you, and I'm going to sit here. It's a thing that I feel comfortable working with you also, and...
Mm-hmm. No, but I think that kind of...
So I want to get down and restructure them. So obviously I'll have even you play on them, and
I'd love to.
I'd like to get this guy Anas on bass.
Mm-hmm. This guy. But yeah, I mean, I think it's important to, like, I think जो वही बात जो हम कर रहे थे ना कि a lot of artists who have a lot of creativity end up not showing it because they get insecure. Okay, this is not ready. This won't be heard. This won't be popular.
Exactly, yeah.
But the point is, like, when you put it out, sometimes, like the great painters, sometimes they weren't known until after they died. I'm not saying we have to wait till
that guy who shot himself, exactly, that painter, exactly. He didn't know.
But the point is, your job is just to put it out there.
Out there.
Even if one person listens and gets inspired.
That may have happened with me, though. It may have happened with me also in the past. I was kind of apprehensive about for these reasons.
Yeah. And I mean, so actually take us to that point. Like what was going on in your head when you were thinking like that?
Okay, like there was a time I remember in the early mid 2000s when I formed my own band with Jesse on bass, on guitar. He was on guitar and he had composed some songs.
So Jesse is John's brother, actually.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so he composed these songs with a friend of his who used to work with him, and he was in a bank back then and stuff. So, and so I heard the song. I said, they sound pretty decent, so let me arrange it for you. And he said, yeah, that would be lovely. And I said, okay, why not we just form this band together? I'll help you. So they were kind of, wow, John's going to be playing with us. And we got in a drama and stuff. We even did 1 or 2 gigs, I think. And so we worked, but then we had the same problem with the industry, trying to market it and people putting us down.
और उस वक्त channels का दौर
था. You had to pay like a kind of 4 to 5 lakhs just to run your song.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. We tried taking a song there.
How perverse. Like, you have to pay money. They should be paying you.
We went to producers. We went to people. Okay, like, mind you make a video. This is a song. Well, song sounds good. Okay, video will cost you so much. I said, well, how about a sponsor?
Yeah.
Oh, I know it can't be done and all that. And it's going to be
and what the reason they gave was the kind of music you were making?
Not kind of, I don't know, just... obviously been open to even change stuff around,
Did that music have like vocals on it, or was it?
It had vocals, total vocals on it. I'm just, you could say pop music, more kind of the Western-oriented pop music.
Or
in fact,
English
I'll make you listen to it sometime.
Right.
Next time around,
I'd love to.
Yeah.
But was it in Urdu or English?
Urdu.
Okay. So yeah, then it's strange that they didn't go for it.
And the singer was a good poet, so even the lyrics were kind of what sells in this market. So he had written it that way and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it was just like we weren't getting any sponsors in the opening. So we came to the point where we said, okay, we'll just make the video ourselves, kind of. We were even out for that, but no one wanted to run it and stuff.
So they kind of just died with it.
Then we died with it, we all kind of split up and...
So at that point, what did you learn from that experience? Did you think आइंदा करूँगा तो इस तरह नहीं करूँगा या किसी और तरह करूँगा, like उस तरह, like how did it impact you?
Yeah, I had a lot of mixed emotions at that time also. I went through phases myself where I was kind of
depressed about
it, going crazy in my head and all that stuff. Then that's when I started kind of working on myself. After a couple of years, for maybe 2 or 3 years, I was kind of down.
And it's difficult.
It's difficult,
as a musician,
exactly, as a
you go into your own hole.
Exactly.
downward
And then
spiral.
then also my session thing had stopped at that time. I hadn't been sessioning, so I was just sitting at home, like, doing nothing. You know, music. So it was driving me crazy, like sitting between four walls and just.
That's difficult.
That was a difficult point. You know, it was a bad phase too, but
Yeah.
which was also a good thing in a way because it made me kind of get in touch with myself, connect with myself.
And so through this time did listening to music give you like the solace, like, because you know when we're growing up and we're teenagers and you go through your first breakup and your
Exactly.
first thing, then sort of music as musicians, music's
music, exactly. But it kind of
So
soothes you or
did that
affects your every
still,
emotion.
you know, like I find because I'm producing so much, I don't listen to new stuff as much, but I try to.
Because of being a producer. Exactly.
Yeah,
You
like,
have to-
I
you
just
have to
want to
keep
give
yourself
my ears a
empty,
break.
keep yourself empty, exactly.
Yeah, but you know, do you still have that element where if you're getting down, depressed, you just put on some music to chill out?
Actually, I don't really have. I think I've even crossed that stage of getting depressed now. But I do love listening to music. Or I just love playing also. You know? If I see a keyboard anywhere or whatever, and I'll just sit down and play. See a guitar, pick it up, and I'll start tinkering around with it. And
it just brightens the
I
day.
keep listening to music a lot. I listen to music every day. I listen to new music, modern stuff, and so it does elevate me. It does.
So I'm like definitely a minor chord person, you know. So I find like
more towards the dark.
and because I don't know, because it's hard to know exactly why, but it feels like when you listen to major music, it feels most of the time that whoever made it is trying to sell some feeling of happiness or something, or some positive thing, which they're not really feeling. You know, because for me, a lot of the more convincing music comes from when people are not in a great space.
Like you see even the blues, okay, like the minor blues and major blues. You have more of the minor blues that kind of is running from in there, you know, and
I mean, and the really, really interesting music is what's able to use both.
Yeah.
Right? Take you in both
if
places.
You listen to new modern jazz fusion and stuff.
Yeah, but take you both places authentically.
Authentically.
ये नहीं कि forced major feeling, all happy.
They're not forcing it in.
Yeah, exactly.
But here it kind of, and they take a major chord progression, a 1-4-5 progression, and it's all majors, you know. And
so as far as the session work you've done, have you had to, like, do you feel often that in session work you have to play things that you're not feeling? Or do you allow yourself
sometimes definitely, I'd say that's just like a job. Okay? You can be working in whatever environment, like a job or something. So if you're looking at, kind of to make ends meet, then you do it. You're still doing your thing at the end of the day. But touch work, I played with this guy, Najam Shiraz too. With him, I had a lot of space. He said, you just play what you want. You don't play my songs the way they are. So you play what you want on it.
And that works out.
So I enjoyed playing with him. He was a musician himself and a good singer and stuff. So
your session career, has it been mostly playing live or on recordings?
Live and recordings, but it was mostly live. I'll say about 70% live, and I did some recordings also.
And the recording works for jingles and things, or for
I did maybe 1 or 2 jingles, and of course that too at Amir Zaki.
Right.
And recordings for bands.
For bands.
For bands. Like keyboard solos and.
Right. Did you get credited for them?
Yes, I did get credit for 1 or 2 bands. Some I didn't.
ये भी एक बड़ा मसला हुआ ना, like, because I've realized that even in the West, like now with Rick Beato's channel, he's made. Do you know of Rick Beato on YouTube?
Oh, Rick Beato, yeah. I do
so on his
him.
channel, he like, you know, one of the funny things that he's mentioned, like if you see the credits of an album and you see some famous session player thanked first in the first line, then you know, if, for instance, it's a drummer that's thanked, then it's for sure that, you know, that drummer has played on the record and the band drummer has not played.
The band drummer has not.
But that guy hasn't got formal credit. He's just been thanked.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So that's
funny. I know exactly.
And I didn't realize this until very recently. As a producer, I realized.
True. That makes sense.
You know, as a producer, I realized bands are coming in and they're not necessarily. Some bands, I'm not going to name who.
Yeah, I know. But we know of them exactly.
Some bands they can't play things correctly, and
They
then
have
you
them,
get
they
the
have
session
background
player.
musicians or exactly playing for them.
तो ये बड़ा होता है, और ये एक तरह से अच्छा भी है. It's work for the session
exactly,
player.
yeah.
But I think it also,
But
you
that's
know,
kind
it's
of
unfortunate
cheating.
that
Yeah,
it's kind of
It's
cheating.
kind of cheating, you know.
It is kind of
You're
cheating.
lying
isn't
to
it?
yourself. You're lying to yourself. You're living in denial.
Yeah, and you're selling
Exactly,
an image.
Selling an image.
Okay, this is the band. This is the
I can't
lineup.
do it. I can't
Yeah.
back it up, you know.
It's weird. It is weird. But क्या करें? It's what we're dealing with. But yeah, I think. So आजकल you're teaching at Arts Council.
I'm
right?
teaching at the Arts Council here.
So how's that been?
Oh, that's going pretty good, and the environment's very good there. The people are nice, and they're training the teachers, and
Yeah.
a couple of students are into it now, and they've
Yeah.
got a good kind of what do you call it
The program.
program going on.
Yeah. How many students come to you?
Right now, I've got about 2 or 3 only right now, but
Okay.
it's also I'm doing the third year. Like there are 3 years, so the 3 year trimester.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like 3 trimesters.
Right. So you're teaching
I'm
somewhat
really
experienced
So
students.
most of the experienced students,
Yeah.
the ones that already got their hands-on experience, I'm teaching them. I'm just teaching them the elements of like rock, jazz, blues, funk, and all that. You know.
So what's
and
your
how to
approach?
perform.
Do you play some like standards for them, or do you just show them?
Right now, I'm
on
just
the
teaching them a lot of exercises, the blues scales, Mixolydian scales, and like all the scales and your modes, modes and how to go into it. And then I give them song standards along with it. And
Mm-hmm. And what do you
Just blues.
what do you find like? How's the standard of the students?
okay, it'll take some time because it's also their listening. So I give them a lot of listening material, like their homework, which you have to listen to a lot of stuff.
Hmm.
And so but they're getting towards that, you know. And I do mentor them a lot. I play for them,
Yeah.
you know. So they want to play just the thing I'm doing. I said no, it's a step-by-step process, you know.
How you can't just
reach
jump.
there, you can't just jump there. I said you can jump there. I'll show you a rip or something when I'm playing, but
But फायदा नहीं होगा.
you're gonna फायदा नहीं होगा because you're me then. You're not you.
Also, yeah, you know, you can. This brings me to something which is
Huh.
common आजकल, like especially with guitar players,
Huh.
because of YouTube. You know, people can
Oh, yeah.
learn some really complex,
complex
virtuoso,
stuff, yeah.
sweep picking, सब कुछ हो रहा है.
True. Huh.
But you start jamming with them, play them a little bit of a
They're
tera
lost.
chord.
They're lost.
They're completely
They're
lost.
Completely lost. I've seen that.
So it's a strange phenomenon where the technical ability is there, but the listening isn't there.
Okay, this is what I do with my students now. I'll suddenly start jamming. Like for instance, we were jamming. I started off jamming earlier. I'll play a chord setup, like a chord progression, and play along. Okay, so what's that chord? Was that? So this went in. So I go into year training then with them and
Yeah.
how to identify the chords and
Yeah. So yeah, this phenomenon of people learning crazy virtuoso chops, but not being able to follow along in a jam situation is really interesting and quite alarming in a way. Because for me, I don't have those chops, but I can jam. You know, and for me,
Likewise,
like to be,
I don't
it's
go
a
for chops.
it's like if music is a language. You need to be able to learn to
Communicate,
speak
talk,
and communicate as opposed to just
we
learning
speak-
the dictionary.
It's like we speak, don't use big words where they don't fit in. you know?
Yeah, exactly.
That's it's the same thing. That's it.
हाँ उस तरह सोचा जाए तो बहुत अजीब सी बात
Exactly, वही बात हो गया. Exactly.
So what would you say? What's your advice to musicians that are trying to learn the language of music? You know what to focus on.
I'd say okay. First thing, come to Jama Jams and sit with experienced musicians. Learn something from them. You know, listen to them, learn, ask.
Yeah. And it's
quite-
okay to not play anything.
It's okay to not play anything.
It's
Exactly.
okay just like even in a conversation,
Listen,
right? If someone
not saying
knowledgeable or someone interesting is speaking,
You
you
listen.
won't cut them off.
You rather listen.
Yeah.
You know, and try to gain something, absorb, analyze it, and whatever.
Bilkul.
There are times when I don't play. When I'm listening to even new musicians, there might be someone even a student guy might be coming
Yeah.
playing. But I'll stop playing and I'll listen to him what he's doing, and then I'll try to play till around.
बिल्कुल.
तो इस तरह के होना चाहिए. So
Yeah, and I think honestly, it's really about giving respect.
respect.
You know, a lot of this kind of just overplaying and being loud
Being too exactly. Yeah.
comes from like an ego space where it's all about you.
It's all about you,
And
yeah.
you're not giving
caring about
respect
it.
to
You're not-
people
exactly,
around
not giving
you.
respect to people, exactly. So
So-
that's what I've seen with.
So
mean-
with some people, yes.
So I've done with Ahmed Zakir or whatnot. He used to play really loud, you know. And there were
Yeah.
times I'd go and pull out his cable from his amp, like, you know, get into fights and.
That's so
But
funny.
he was a player. I mean, he could play. So exactly. But still, when you're playing so loud, let's balance it. And then there were times when he tell me, "Okay, you're loud now." Yeah, because I'm kind of getting back at you, man, for what you
Yeah,
do.
but you know, at that level, I think a bit of professional like kind of clashing
Clashing
is
more,
also
exactly,
is also like expected.
Yeah, that's expected, and you can handle that also. You can say,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, but
But
no.
if someone doesn't know anything and you're just like, I mean, if he's just playing one track, like, you're
नहीं
just
ना, फिर
playing
बनता
bass
नहीं
lines, बनता नहीं है इसका, नहीं? Exactly. So then you need to kind of
Yeah.
open up.
Yeah, but no, it's been lovely chatting with you
No, likewise,
and
yeah.
learning from you and having you around. And please follow Sir Khwab, research John Saville, and check out all the stuff he's done. And if you want to jam with him, come to the
Come
Juma
to
Jam.
the Joma Jams, exactly. At Alif. That's where you'll meet me and get
Yeah,
the jam with me and
yeah.
all of us here.
Or sign up at Arts Council.
Or
And-
sign up, exactly.
Yeah, but thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time. Allah Hafiz.